Everyone, welcome and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for our Fix a Leak Week 2023 webinar this year. My name is Kieran Kaur. I am a water use efficiency specialist here at the Alameda County Water District, and I'll be your host today along with my other team members who you will be able to meet throughout this presentation. To go over some logistics, all attendees are in listen-only mode. Please put your questions in the question and answer box, as you can see below your screen, and we will answer them to the best of our ability during our question and answer session today. Closed captioning is available if you select live transcript, also right next to the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. To give an overview of today's webinar, I'll begin discussing what Fix a Leak Week is, and then provide some background on ACWD, our drought actions, as well as our water use efficiency programs. Then Megan Marino will talk about our new advanced metering infrastructure, otherwise known as AMI system, and the Smart Water Connect portal available to our customers with AMI meters. From there, she'll teach you all how to find and fix leaks with and without AMI. We will then end the presentation with Giselle Delgadillo hosting a special guest who will talk all about his own real-life experience with AMI and answer any questions you may have. So, what is Fix a Leak Week? Fix a Leak Week is an annual national campaign promoted by the United States Environmental Protection Agency, otherwise known as the EPA WaterSense program, to highlight the importance of finding and fixing leaks. The Alameda County Water District has been an EPA WaterSense promotional partner for over 7 years, and we are happy to promote their National Fix a Leak Week campaign. Water is a very precious resource, and leaks are a big water waster. WaterSense is a program sponsored by the EPA that certifies fixtures that meet EPA's criteria for efficiency and performance. WaterSense labeled products, as you can see on the right-hand side there, are independently certified to use at least 20% less water and perform as well or better than standard models. All right, time for some fun. Let's see how much we all know about leaks. We're gonna go ahead and share a short poll quiz to test your knowledge. Please go ahead and raise your hand once you've completed the poll questions, and we'll give you all a few minutes to answer those. Okay, I think just about another minute, and then we'll close the poll. Okay, I think we can go ahead and share how everybody answered. So it looks like everybody got the first question correct. The best time to water your landscape is the early morning and evening. Typically, watering all day long is not a good answer, and in the afternoon, there's a higher chance of water loss through evaporation. Moving on to the second question, looks like we all answered correctly as well. Outdoor watering is where the average home uses the most water during hotter months. Looking at the third question, it seemed to kind of be a spread of answers, but the answer is all of the above. All of these items can be used as a water saving tool in various ways. A bucket can be used to collect any water from any leaks temporarily while you're making arrangements to fix a leak. A clock can be used to count your flow and water pressure of your home, and a broom can be used to clean up outside areas like driveways, sidewalks, rather than using a hose. Looking at the fourth question, everybody answered it correctly. A leaky toilet wastes the most water per day in an average home. And that brings us to the last question. The most common source of leaks in a household happens to be toilets. And as we'll discuss, all of those factors, faucets, irrigation systems can also be big sources of leaks, but toilets happen to be the most common one. Awesome. Well, let's get into a little bit about the Alameda County Water District. It is the mission of the Alameda County Water District to provide a reliable supply of high quality water at a reasonable price to our customers. To give a little overview of ACWD, we were founded in 1914, and we serve a population of 357,000 customers with over 84,000 connections. We service the areas of Fremont, Newark, and Union City, which is around 105 square mile service area. Looking at our water supplies, about 40% of our water is local from our Alameda Creek watershed. Another 40% of our water comes from the State Water Project, and 20% of it comes from the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission. Looking at our water use efficiency programs, we really want to promote our programs that are in partnership with WaterSense. For our residential customers, we have free water conservation kits with leak detection tablets. It's a simple form you can fill out and receive the water conservation kit. As you can see below, it includes aerators and shower heads that are all WaterSense labeled. We have our free energy and water savings assistance direct install program, our Ratio Smart Sprinkler Controller instant rebate, and irrigation hardware rebates. For our multifamily residential and commercial, institutional, industrial customers, we have our ultra high efficiency toilet and urinal rebate, which goes up to about $70 per toilet, as well as our weather-based irrigation controller rebate, similar to the Ratio Smart Sprinkler Controller. We also have a variety of other programs available to our customers. We have our Lawn Be Gone rebate, which is our turf replacement program. On the right-hand side, you'll see Mr. Linderman's newly converted drought-tolerant garden. We have our rain barrel rebate, an example of that shown at Mr. Hoikie's residence, landscape workshops, and our ACWD Aqueduct newsletter. For our commercial customers, we have our large landscape survey, large landscape water use budget program, water use efficiency surveys, and our water efficient technology program. So the big question that we're all asking with all this water we're getting, are we still in a drought? Our local and statewide conditions have improved. However, the Alameda County Water District is still subject to wholesale supplier conservation requests, and the statewide mandate to declare a stage 2 in our water shortage contingency plan. In April of 2023, coming up soon, we'll know more, as well as if we can lift our water shortage emergency ordinance. All right, well, now I will pass it on to Megan Marino, who will talk to you all about how to find and fix leaks.
Thank you, Mrs. Kaur. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to walk through two different ways of detecting leaks using your meter. Traditionally, people are used to standard meters, which are read every 2 months for a bi-monthly billing cycle. And in 2018, we embarked on a project called the Automated Metering Infrastructure Initiative, which is retrofitting all of our meters in the service area. So your traditional standard meter is going to be upgraded to an AMI meter, which takes water volumes and reads at a 15-minute intervals instead of much less frequent, like manually read meters, and that is transferred up to a safe wireless information network and then displayed to customers using the secure online customer portal. So customers with upgraded meters, there's about 30% of our service area that already have these meters installed, are going to be taking a different approach than the standard meters. So I'll explain both of those to you, but you're probably wondering what type of meter you have. So in order to find out, you can go to acwd.org/AMI, and you would be looking at the meter installation map, which you can see in the upper right-hand corner of the slide. You type in your address, and it will show you whether or not you have had the upgrade completed, like the one on the screen, or an estimated upgrade date range in which you will likely receive the upgrade. Another way you can tell is via the meter case. So in the photo, the left-hand meter cover is cement, dated, may look similar to ones that you have at your house. However, the new AMI meters are going to have a light gray plastic top. So if your meter lid looks like the light gray meter shown in the photo, you have likely been upgraded to AMI. And no worries, all customers will be eventually upgraded. So this may apply to you shortly. So first, let's start with a standard meter, or the older bi-monthly read meters. To determine if you have a leak, you're going to turn off all of your water using appliances in your home. Then you would physically go out to your water meter and lift the cover to see the meter dial. If the needle that registers water use is moving, but you're not using any water, this can indicate that you have a leak. If the needle appears to be still, you'd want to record that volume that the needle is pointing to, because it could be a low volume leak. At that point, you're going to keep your water off at least for 15 to 30 minutes, and then go back to check if the needle has moved, and that again may indicate that you have a possible leak in your system, just maybe at a smaller volume. So then there's a further step you can take to troubleshoot whether or not the leak is occurring inside the home or outside the home. We are going to go and find your main water valve to the inside of your home. I've included a photo there. This is typically what a main water valve looks like. It could be located near your hose bib, and you're going to want to shut off the water to the inside of the home. Then you'll go to the meter, like we previously discussed, lift the cover to see if the meter dial is moving. And if the needle appears to be still, you're going to record the meter reading, wait at least 15 to 30 minutes, and then return to that meter to see if the needle has moved. If the needle has moved and the water is shut off to the house, that would indicate that you have a leak somewhere outside of the home. That'll help you troubleshoot where you can look for wet spots or test your irrigation system to see if you have any leaks outside. If the meter has not moved and the water to the house is shut off, then the leak is likely somewhere inside the home. That may be indicative of a leaky shower head or a faucet not being completely turned off. So that is how to check for leaks using your standard meter. Now, for those of you who have been upgraded to AMI meters, there's a separate process which does not involve going to look at the meter. This is because the AMI meters have sensors on the meter lid that can potentially be tampered with or broken. So we ask that customers are not lifting up the meter lids and that instead you look on the customer portal to identify leaks. So this is a separate process, not involving the meter. To start, AMI meters detect continuous usage over a 24 to 48 hour period, which may indicate a potential customer side leak. So if water is being used nonstop, this is not typical and could be indicative of a leak. Because typical residents and properties have periods where there is zero consumption being registered on the water meter. This can occur during the middle of the night when no one is home, or unless you know that you have a water using device that's going to be running continuously, such as an ice maker or a medical device, or you have a large family, there should be periods of zero consumption at some point in a 48-hour period. So to check for a leak using AMI, you're essentially looking for long periods of time when there's continuous usage, which may indicate a leak, or periods of zero consumption, which would mean that no leak is likely. So to check for leaks, you're going to start by going to your My Smart Water Connect portal. If you have a login, this is where you would pay your bill, but you can also look at your usage. And so you're going to log in, you're going to hover over to the usage tab, select usage overview, and you're going to see 2 meters in the dropdown on step number 3, because your standard meter is logged in there, so you can see usage prior to when your AMI meter was installed. But AMI meter is the one that detects those smaller 15-minute interval data. So you're going to select the meter dropdown and select with the one that's without a preceding letter. So it should start with a digit, a number. Then you're going to want to select the hourly tab and hover over different dates to look for a 24 to 48 hour period where you either have water being used continuously or not, which is a good thing. So if you do have a leak, there is certain steps you can take to troubleshoot where that leak is occurring. So similar to the standard meters, you're going to turn off all your faucets and water using appliances such as ice makers, dishwashers, and clothes washers. Then it's important that you take note of what time you have the water using appliances shut off. You know, write it down on a piece of paper, today's date for from 1 to 2 p.m. It's not using water. You'll want to keep the water off for at least 30 minutes and to make sure no one in the home is using any water using appliances. Then the following day, you're going to check your usage during that same period in the portal, because currently our consumption is delayed being uploaded. So the next day you'll see the period for the previous day. And logging into the portal, you'll go to usage like we did in the last slide. So if you see water being used during that period that you had all your water off, that could indicate that you have a leak hidden somewhere inside or outside of your home. There's also, you can look at the 15-minute tab to see when exactly that further breakdown of when water was being used during the period in which you had it off. So let's go over a few examples. This is an example of what a usage screen could look like in the portal. And in example 1, you can see that there are periods of zero use indicating non-continuous flow. So there are several zeros being recorded by the meter, like in the middle of the night at 12 o'clock in the morning. No one's using water. So that means your system has the ability to not use any water. And that would indicate that no leak is likely. In the second example, you're looking for continuous use, right? So in this example, you can see that water is being used continually, and you would be looking for times in which when you may not think you're using water, like say in the middle of the night at 1 a.m. there's water being recorded, you might have been sleeping. So on March 6th, the automatic alert was sent to a customer because the portal has been set for certain parameters and certain thresholds to indicate that if you're using a certain volume of water every hour for 24 to 48 hours, we're going to automatically send you a notice via email or text, whatever your preferred method is, because that way you don't have to log into the portal, monitor your use daily. We'll actually preventatively send you a note and just say, hey, we see continuous usage on your profile, please check for leaks. So that notification was sent to a customer on March 6th. The customer investigated a leak alert and found that his backflow was leaking. So within 4 days, he made repairs. And on the 10th of March, you can see that some periods returned to zero use or non-continuous use. So that is a success story in which the leak was repaired. Just a few more notes. The threshold that we've currently set for residential customers is that 7.5 gallons for 22 consecutive hours over the last 24 hours. So if you're meeting that threshold, you would be sent an automatic alert. And if you're not sure if you've received an alert, you can go to the portal and click the bell icon to indicate any messages that you may have received from the district. So finally, just to recap, depending on what meter you have, there's 2 different methods for checking for leaks. Both of them include stop using water for a period of time and then checking to see if your meter was registering water during that time. But if you're not sure which type of meter you have, feel free to ask. We're happy to work with our customers and we can find that out easy for you. Some common sources of leaks include toilets. This is by far the most common toilet leak type, as Karen mentioned in the poll questions. If you have any leak indication, you want to check your toilet first. There's several points in which a toilet can be leaking. Most commonly, the flapper can get degraded over time and that seal loosens up. And so there's going to be water flowing from your tank into your toilet bowl. And that can be a slow, continuous leak, wasting a ton of water. So always check your toilets first. But other culprits include faucets, irrigation systems, and hoses, valves, hot water heaters, basically anything that uses water, which should be looked at when you're investigating a leak. Okay, next I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Giselle Delgadillo, to explain our special feature.
Thank you, Megan. That was a lot of great information. I'm sure our customers appreciate that information and are excited to check out their own AMI portals. So for today's webinar, we are very excited to have a special guest joining us, Ed Stevenson, the General Manager of Alameda County Water District. Ed is actually also an ACWD customer, and his home has one of about 28,000 meters that have been replaced with an AMI smart meter so far. And eventually, every ACWD customer in the service area will have a new AMI smart meter and have that easy access to their water consumption data. So today we'll be talking with Ed about the benefits and helpful features of AMI and the My Smart Water Connect online customer portal, and his own experience using AMI to discover leaks. So welcome, Ed.
It's great to be here. Thanks for joining us, everybody who's participating in our webinar today. Yeah, I can talk all day about AMI. I love it, but I'll try and keep my remarks within our time frame.
Great. So yeah, let's jump right in. The first question we wanted to ask you is, what do you think are the main benefits of having AMI smart meters, both for customers and for Alameda County Water District?
Yeah, well, you know, AMI, as an overall system, I mean, it really is a game changer for our customers and for ACWD. It really does revolutionize how we engage with our customers. It really empowers, and you've seen some examples of that already, but it really empowers our customers to have that real-time information about their water use and their water service. And it puts that control over their water service and this vital resource that is water right in the palm of their hand, in their pocket, in their purse, on their tablet, desktop. It's as is convenient as can be. And so that's overall, it's just a real revolutionary way that we can engage with our customers and ensure that they're equipped with this information. And so from the customer standpoint, we've been talking a lot about leak detection. I mean, that really is a powerful feature, really has the ability to help customers detect leaks early, and either manually by inspecting the data, as you saw a little example there, or as was pointed out, automatically the system will send you an alert should it detect some abnormal water usage and alert you to a potential problem. And through that process, already we've helped hundreds and maybe even thousands by now, even in this early implementation stage that we're in now. We've helped a lot of our customers find and identify those leaks and fix them so that they're not paying for water that they're not using. That water is not just being wasted and not going to a beneficial use. And of course, that results in, you know, minimizing those surprise water bills, which we know are really frustrating to customers. That don't like getting a bill after 60 days and finding out that there's been a significant leak all along that they didn't detect. And now their water bill is really high, and that doesn't do anybody any good. The district certainly wants to avoid those situations too. So really powerful from that standpoint, and simply just equipping customers with the full information about how they use their water. You saw the graph, you can see, oh, I understand now, you know, how much water is being used in the evening in laundry and dishwashing and so forth. And it really gives you a much better sense of when water is being used and ways that you can be efficient users of water all the time. So super proud of this system. Talked about how convenient it is for the customer. We have an app and a desktop version, and maybe we'll show the desktop version and talk a little bit about the app, but the information's right there at your fingertips. So that's powerful stuff. And from the district standpoint, it's in addition to it being another way that we can engage with our customers, because we are a service organization and that's what we're here for. It also makes us more efficient too. In our own operations, it helps us make better use of staffing resources. You know, once the project is completed, we'll no longer have a need for, you know, several people to be walking across our 105 square mile service area every 60 days and manually meeting readers. That allows us to make better use of resources that we have. The data itself, very high resolution data, provides a lot of information about what's happening in our system. We can use that to optimize our own operations and monitor for, you know, large scale swings in what's happening in the system, where the water is going. We can detect, you know, sudden losses of water in an area that may indicate like a big water main leak or something along those lines. And we can see that much faster and in much better resolution than sort of the old-fashioned way, which is kind of analogous to how you read an old-fashioned meter, as Megan showed. monitoring for large changes in stored water volumes and things like that. So we can get much better efficiency out of our own operations. And then things like fewer truck rolls, less usage of vehicles for going around the service area, reading meters and so forth. That reduces vehicle costs, it reduces fleet related costs, and reduces our greenhouse gas footprint, right? Our greenhouse gas emissions. And then, on a macro scale, the water that is saved by eliminating those leaks and giving these tools to our customers to conserve water, it helps us because we can minimize water purchases, we can minimize the cost of treatment, treatment plant chemicals and so forth. We can potentially defer expensive new water supply initiatives. And it also helps us to be better equipped to meet upcoming regulations that limit how much water can be used indoors and outdoors and so forth. So it really is a win-win for the district and for our customers, and it really is a revolutionary change for our district. Super proud of it.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Thanks for sharing that. Definitely a lot of great benefits in a lot of different areas. So yeah, super exciting. And so the online My Smart Water Connect portal really bridges or is the connection between, customers and their actual water use and their data. And as you mentioned, we'll kind of be looking at it a little later on, but just off the top of your head, what do you think are some of the most helpful features that the online portal has?
Yeah, and I think you nailed it, Giselle. I mean, it's really the interface between the user, the customer, and the AMI meter, right? And so it really provides that link, but it's packed with features. First of all, ease of access, and I mentioned that previously. Of course, you have all of your water usage data, but also you have easy access to ACWD's customer service representatives. It's there in your pocket now. You don't have to remember phone numbers. It's got a chat feature. It's got really convenient options for paying water bills and making the bill payment process really hassle-free. Automating your water bill payments, moving away from paper water bills and so forth. And it's all right there in the app. So you don't have to search around looking for different resources. And also, it's got quick access to the district's rebate programs and water efficiency programs. And again, it's all right there in the app. Quick click and you're on your way to filling in your application or whatever it is that you're interested in. So ease of access is a key feature. It's also, talk a little bit about how powerful it is. Really, it's a simple portal, but it's really backed by some really powerful data analytics that makes your meter, your AMI meter, really a smart meter. And so that, in combination with the features and automated alerts and other things that are really cool about the app, really is all in a package. It's really, really cool. Great.
Yeah. So, one-stop shop, making sure that our customers have access to all the different resources that we offer. Yeah, definitely great. So our next question, we wanted to ask you how you find and fix leaks, and whether you have any examples that you could share since you've had your AMI meter installed.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm a great test dummy for AMI, because I was an early adopter, as ACWD was evaluating options and testing out AMI a few years ago. Having lived here in the service area, I volunteered to go ahead and have my meter changed out so we could evaluate the process of installing, but then also trying out and seeing how the data worked and how the communication was happening and so forth. So I was an early guinea pig or test dummy, depending on how you want to look at it. But I will say that shortly after my AMI meter was installed, I received a leak alert. And I was a little surprised and went to look into it. The leak alert was showing that I was using about 0.0048 units per hour. And the units of those things that the meter reads in, it's 100 cubic feet volumes, and 0.0048 units per hour. And I thought, wow, that's a really slow leak, but it was continuous. So it's just like Megan was pointing out, if you look at your data and you see something happen continuously, you have a good sense that there's probably a leak somewhere. So I walked around the property looking for something, couldn't find any leaks, you know, in any fixtures inside the house, anything like that. It turns out it was a very slow leak in my irrigation control valve, you know, in landscape irrigation. Remember when we used to do that back in the day before the drought? And so it turns out there was a little seal inside the irrigation control valve that was just barely leaking by just a little bit. And there's no way I would have seen that, because the water doesn't surface everywhere. It leaks past the irrigation control valve into the irrigation pipe and just kind of vanishes away. And it didn't pond anywhere, anything like that. So the only way I would have seen that was through AMI. If I had used the traditional methods, I would have been sitting there with my head inside my meter box for many hours on end, waiting for the slightest indication that there was something leaking. I was thrilled that it worked as well as it did, because again, that's money, that's water I'm no longer paying for. It's not going to waste. It can be used for its intended beneficial use. And I was able to fix that easily. So wouldn't have been able to do it without AMI.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that experience. And so, you know, my next question was asking you how that process really differed from like a standard approach. And I've heard a couple things already that you mentioned, just the fact that it could catch a leak that small, and the fact that you didn't have to kind of go out and check the meter. Any other ways you could talk about how the process was different? Was it, you know, pretty straightforward, easy?
Yeah, well, you know, the old-fashioned way of finding a leak is kind of what Megan talked through a little bit. It involved, you know, you're looking around your yard one day and you find some muddy patch, or you're seeing water drip from a faucet, or you hear your toilet running, or you see water ponding somewhere, things like that. And for very small leaks that aren't easy to find, those types of leak detection doesn't really work, right? So then you use the other method where you stare at your meter for a long period of time. You shut your water off, you take readings, and then you come back sometime later. But even that wouldn't have worked well in this case. The leak was so small, it would have been such a long period of time before I saw any kind of movement on the meter. So with AMI, it was obvious. There was a leak, boom, I have an alert, says you got something going on. I wouldn't even have thought to check for anything like that, because there were none of those indicators that there's ponding water or leaks anywhere. So with the traditional methods, it's possible, but it would have been a bit of a challenge, and I would have probably only gone through that effort if I suspected that there was a leak somewhere. In this case, of course, I didn't suspect that. So the AMI meter really came through for me, and the portal makes it really easy to see for yourself what exactly is happening with your water use.
Great. Yeah. So definitely catching all those tricky leaks that, you know, happen, but maybe might be really hard to catch early on. So that's definitely a great example of, you know, one of the key benefits of AMI for sure. So for our final question, we wanted to ask you if you could please do a brief demo, log into your customer portal, you know, show us some of your favorite features, what you would look at when trying to find leaks, just so that attendees can kind of get a little sneak peek if they haven't already checked out their portal or haven't had an AMI meter installed yet. Sure.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just share my screen here. I logged into my ACWD. I just went onto the ACWD website and just clicked on, you know, my account. And then poof, I come to this screen. Can you see it okay? That is my, this is what the customer portal looks like to me. This is my own account you're looking at. I can see I have a bill coming up, $107. On the main screen here, it kind of shows you just a general snapshot of what your what past water uses looked like and what things look like for the current period. Kind of gives you a little estimate as to where you might be at the end of the current period. But really the features in the AMI portal that I like so much, I'll just kind of go through a couple of them with you. Really, my favorite places to go are the usage tools. Right up here at the top, there's a little banner with the main categories of various features. If you go under usage and just click compare, this is really cool because, whoops, I gotta log in again. I guess I was waiting too long. As I was talking too much during the initial part of our discussion. Anyway, here we are. So I'm back to usage. I'm going to click compare. And then this shows a really nice little summary of your water use over the last 2 years. So if you look, the blue bars here show my usage 2 years ago. The orange bar shows my usage last year for that same period, and the green bar shows my usage this year for that same period. And you can see there's been quite a drop in my usage because I've been really trying to do my best to conserve water during the drought. But it gives you a good sense of overall, like, how are you doing relative to past use? And so that is one of my favorite features. But if you click on, and here the graph is showing comparing my own data with myself. But if you click on compare my data with other customers, that's pretty cool too, because I can see how my usage compares to sort of the average customer that's similar to me in terms of my type of house and so forth. I can see my usage here in green. I can see the average sort of customer's usage here in blue. I can also look at it in terms of dollars. Like how much am I spending relative to how much other people are spending on their water? I can look in the August, September timeframe. Sort of the average customer is spending around $90 for their water use. I was spending about $64 for my water use. And that's also a motivator to be as efficient as I can too, because I can save some money and I can see what that difference really means. If you want to really geek out with this comparison tool, there's a little a link down here at the bottom. I won't click on it because there's all kinds of options in there that you can customize. You know, you can specify specifically how big your house is, how many fixtures you have, how old your toilets are, how many people live in the house. And that will really give you a really accurate comparison between you and people that are similarly situated like you are. Okay, so let's see, if I go back up to usage and I look and click on the usage overview button, this is a really powerful tool here because it shows in a little bit more detail how I've been using my water. Again, this graph here shows my usage over the last 2 years. But I can look at things in very great detail. As Giselle points out, I have an AMI meter already. So I can look at things in much greater detail than just, you know, every 60 days. So I can go as little as 15-minute increments here. So I'm going to click on the 15 minutes. I'm going to choose a date. We saw an example from March 6th. So I'll just use March 6th as the date. And I can look at it in terms of gallons as units. So all that specificity is right here in the graph. And so here you're looking at my water use from March 6th in the number of gallons that were used every 15 minutes. And I can see the good news is I don't have a leak. I mean, this meter is showing 0 water usage during these periods of the day when either no one's home or we're sleeping. You can see that, you know, early in the morning, you got a couple of people taking some showers, and then there's some toothbrushing and so forth. And then in the evening, you can see there's laundry and there's, you know, dishwashing and so forth. But you can see some really, really small numbers here, 0.6 gallons for a 15-minute period. So it's very precise, very accurate, and it tells you an awful lot about how you're using water. And again, it tells you that you essentially don't have a leak. When you say a whole string of zeros like that, that means your water's not being wasted. Let's see, I want to talk about some of the usage alerts. So I mentioned before, you can receive alerts sort of manually or automatically. You can specify in the portal that I want you to tell me when I'm using a certain amount of water. There's a little manage usage alert button here at the bottom. I can specify right now, I'm telling it, please send me a notice when my daily water use exceeds 0.2 units or 100 cubic feet. I'm an engineer, so I think in terms like that, but you can set it to gallons or other units, and you can have it, I have it set to send me a text. You can have it send you a text and an email, or just an email. So you can have it let you know when your water usage has reached a certain threshold, but you don't have to worry about that in terms of, you know, what if I select the wrong threshold? What if I miss a leak? The system will actually send you a leak alert. Under account here, if I go to notification preferences, there's a number of different alerts that the system can send you. You can configure it to do quite a few things. Billing alerts related to, hey, when do you want to know when your bill's coming up? Do you want to know when your bill's overdue? Do you want to know information about the billing process? There's other services in here that it can alert you about. The leak alert is what we talked about, and that the system will provide you that leak alert automatically. You can turn it off if you want, and just turn it off. And you can also specify how you receive that leak alert via email, text, and so forth. And then that high usage alert is what I just showed you on that other screen. You can set it to, if you're going on vacation and you want to make sure you know if a pipe breaks somewhere on the house or something like that, you can set up a vacation alert, and it'll alert you for just a period of time that you're on vacation. So really powerful in terms of automatically sending you information that's meaningful to you. Scrolling back up to that top menu again, you can see there's a menu for billing, and again, that's all those features related to e-billing and paperless billing and setting up automatic payments and things like that. It's all here in the app. There's other features too that I encourage you to explore, but under the ways to save menu item, that's where I talked about direct access to lots of our programs to receive rebates for various water saving fixtures and other things that you can do. And so we've got a pretty comprehensive set of programs to help you save water, and we encourage you to take advantage of those and receive a rebate if you do something that costs you some money to install, say, a rain barrel. Well, we got you covered because we'll reimburse you some of that cost. So I guess, Giselle, that's about it in terms of a demo, but I just also wanted to stress it, this portal isn't just available here on a browser. It's also available for your iPhone, for your Android phone. It's on the Apple Store, it's on the Google Play Store. And so it's right here in the palm of your hand, and those same features that I showed you are all there, in your pocket every day too. So it's a really powerful thrill to be able to talk about this great offering we have for our customers.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Ed, for providing a brief demo about the portal and showing all those amazing features. We thank you for taking time out of your day to join us and celebrating Fix a Leak Week this year, and for sharing your experience with AMI. AMI meters in the customer portal are definitely a really powerful tool for our customers to help them learn more about their water usage habits, and to help them save water as well. So
Awesome.
Thanks again, Ed.
And
Thanks
for giving me the chance, and I really do appreciate all those folks who showed up. It's great to be able to engage with our customers. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, and thanks to our attendees for joining. Now we'll move on to a Q&A session, but go ahead and stick around because after the Q&A, we'll be doing a raffle. So we'll be raffling off a special toolkit to help you find and fix leaks. So if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A chat box, or feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you if you prefer to ask your question live. So go ahead, put in your question in the Q&A if you have one, or raise your hand. And I'll go ahead and share a slide we have with our contact information. Our water use efficiency team is always here to help answer your questions related to our rebate programs, drought. If you have questions that come to mind after this webinar, feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.